Pledge of Allegiance.
Second time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody. We have a busy agenda this evening. We have two public hearings that are set to begin at 6:30 p.m. or sometime thereafter. After our two public hearings, we will have two presentations, our Citizen of the Month and a special presentation for our Chief of Police, Arnold Butch Amthor. And then we will get into our regular meeting, which will begin with a public comment portion from those who are eagerly waiting to comment on any business of the board. So we will begin with our public hearing continuation on the hardship application of 134 Neelytown Road. And would anyone like to make a motion to reopen the public hearing?
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Kristen Brown, seconded by Councilwoman Cindy Voss. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Is there anyone on the line who is on the line specifically to make a public comment on the public hearing continuation of the moratorium hardship application for 134 Neelytown Road?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yeah.
excuse me, can you check to see if Mr. Bazidlo is with us?
Sure. I do not believe Mr. Bazidlo is on the line,
Okay.
but Charlie, if you're there, do you have anything to say? He is available to call if we have a specific question for him.
Okay.
Otherwise, he was not expecting to be on.
Okay, just check.
No. Okay, was that Beverly on the line?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Beverly. Do you have a comment for the public hearing?
Full name for the record, please.
Yes, I do.
Full name for
Okay,
the
this is
record, please.
Beverly Mertz. Yep.
Montgomery. I just want to reiterate my comments of the last public hearing on this, that this project, 134 Neelytown Road, as of the time that it was originally approved, which was April 27th, they were still awaiting approval from the Army Corps of Engineers for confirmation on the site wetlands. And also that same evening, Chairman Michael had stated that the length of time it takes for this project to get through the process, it hasn't made the residents feel very confident with how the comments have been dealt with. Now I understand that there has been a meeting with the local residents in regards to runoff and issues that they had been brought up that night that had never been addressed. So I hope that meeting went well.
Thank you. It did. It did go well.
Good. Good. I also want to remind the board that this project has been before the planning board since the fall of 2017. That being said, they did nothing, National Builders did nothing until, in my opinion, they heard that there might be a moratorium. And then they pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed to get it through under the moratorium. That's just wrong. They sat idle for over a year, over 2 years, and then the push. Why should we be held responsible for their delay? That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Mertz. Anyone else on the line who would like to make a comment specific to the public hearing continuation of 134 Neelytown Road? Okay, any of the board members have any comments they want to make? We didn't receive many comments. We did receive, I think, one or two that Tara forwarded along to us, aside from Mrs. Mertz. Okay, so go ahead, Will.
I'll just note that in accordance with Local Law 2 of 2020, the moratorium law, Section 7C provides that once the public hearing is closed, the board has 30 days to make a decision.
Okay. Can we I think in the past, we've kept the public hearing open until maybe Wednesday, give people the 4th of July weekend till 12 noon, and then have it be closed at that time.
Whatever is the board's discretion.
Okay, I would make
Keep
a
it
motion.
open for written comment.
Yes, I would make a motion to keep the public hearing open for written comment only. Written comments to be made to our clerk, Tara Stickles, at tstickles@townofmontgomery.com, and be open until Wednesday, July 8th by 5 p.m. Close at that point. Would anyone like to make that motion? Motion made by Councilwoman Melick, seconded by Councilwoman Voss. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to our public hearing on the Water District Extension Petition, Bracken Road, fire suppression only. Will, do you want to give us a lead on this? We got a lot of materials on it.
You want to make a motion to open the public hearing?
We can do that first. Would anyone like to make motion made by Councilwoman Kristen Brown,
Second.
seconded by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Go ahead, Will.
Okay, thank you.
Your show.
This is a petition of Paul Skibitsky and the estate of Andrew Skibitsky to extend Town Water District Number 2B, non-potable water. This is for an approved project on Bracken Road. Get you the exact section, block, and lot. It is tax parcel section 23, block 1, lot 36.2. It is 17.8 acres, located in the I-3 zone on the east end of Bracken Road, southwesterly corner of the intersection of Bracken and New York State Route 17K. The proposed development is 3 commercial lots, a 74,000 square foot warehouse, and lot 2 has a 59,000 square foot warehouse, and lot 3 contains a 1,000 square foot office and gravel storage yard. Anticipated water demand. Purpose of the proposed water district extension is to provide emergency fire suppression water flows at the referenced project site. Just so the public is aware, this is specifically for fire suppression. This is not water to the project. All of the costs associated with the installation of the extension of the water district would be paid for by the developer, and there would be no cost to the taxpayers. The cost of the water system improvements is approximately $295,000. And anticipated water demand. The existing hydrant of the water main has a reputed pressure of approximately 160 pounds per square inch, with a fire flow only of approximately 1,500 gallons per minute. So those are the main points of what they're looking for here, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay, and this is just the opening of the public hearing. If anybody has any specific technical questions for either Jim Farr or our water sewer consultants, we can certainly get those questions answered from now till the next meeting if we keep our public hearing open, I assume. Does anyone on the board want to make a comment before we let the public, anyone from the public who wants to make a comment?
Do we have anybody from Jacobus, Gubitz, or Mary Marshall on the phone call?
We do not, unless I'm mistaken. Is anyone from part of this request for this public hearing on the phone currently? No, I don't believe a representative is present.
Okay, I have a few questions.
Okay, do you want to submit those questions in writing to the applicant, or do you want to also address them here in the public hearing?
They're just quick.
Go ahead.
Address them right here in the
Yeah.
public hearing. The engineer's report for the proposed water district extension, Town of Montgomery, Water District 2B. I estimate that's supposed to be Orange County and not Sullivan County.
Yes, we told them to make that correct.
Okay, thank you. estimated flow. I did speak with Jim Farr, but I would say that we need to verify with him specifically that we have 1,500 gallons per minute available in the system. He said that's what we should have, that's what he estimates we have, and that we did have enough water in the system, but
Where did you have it on phone?
I just tried.
Okay.
while you're trying that.
I'll text them.
Go ahead.
So the proposed diagram shows an 8-inch duct iron building service. Do we need to know how that's plumbed to the 3 buildings for the sake of this public hearing, or is that in the planning department review?
That would be the planning, but it's up to the board. Normally, that's in the planning process. What we're talking about here is extending the district.
Okay.
The nuts and bolts of it would be approved by our water engineers and so on.
Okay. Those are my 3 thoughts.
Okay, anybody else before we open up to the public? All right. Anyone on the line specifically for a comment on the second public hearing of this evening? This is the Water District Extension petition for Bracken Road fire suppression only. Anyone on the line for that specific issue?
Mr. Supervisor, this is Ben Gailey.
Okay.
I represent the petitioners. And I think Engineer Zach Peters is on the line too, if there's any questions.
I did just call in, yes, I'm available.
Great. Did any of your specific questions, could they answer, Kristen?
The typo was addressed. Estimated flow, that's us. Since they're there, I mean, the question, like we just said, how are they proposing, if it was just one pipe going into one building, I guess I wouldn't ask this direct question. But if it's one pipe from our district that's going to be going to their 3 buildings, if they want to answer that now, if not, I'll give it to the planning board.
Did you hear that, guys?
Is the service to the buildings through one pipe? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, I believe your diagram says that it's an 8-inch duct. How does that get plumbed into the 3 buildings?
So what's being proposed for the connection is there's going to be an extension of the 12-inch main down along Bracken Road, and then the individual service, there's going to be 2 individual service lines for the warehouse buildings. So in the right of way, there's going to be an 8-inch tap that comes off, one for each building.
Okay. I don't think there were any other questions. Is there anyone on the line that has a specific question pertaining to this public hearing? Okay, hold on one second. We're gonna get Jim Farr on the line. Hey Jim, thanks for joining us. Kristen, was one of your questions directed to Jim?
Yeah, Jim, we spoke about this before, but just to confirm it as a matter of public record, do we have the capacity of 1,500 gallons per minute in the system to service this user?
Yes, we have up to 1,500 gallons per minute in the system.
Okay. That was my technical question.
Okay. Anything else for Jim? Jim, thank you for making yourself available. It's much appreciated.
No problem. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Okay, last check for anyone on the phone who has a specific question for just the public hearing on the Water District Extension petition for Bracken Road fire suppression only. Okay, does the board wish to hold this open to allow more time for feedback and public comment, or do you wish to close the public hearing?
I think we should close the public hearing.
Okay. Motion made by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller to close the public hearing. Seconded by Councilwoman Sherry Melick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Okay. It is now 6:49, which gives us 10 minutes to go over our presentations. I will start with our Citizen of the Month. Those that are on the line for public comment, just bear with us for the next 10 minutes, please. Okay, our Town of Montgomery Citizen of the Month had the most nominations of anyone in any particular month, so kudos. This individual I've known for the last decade or so. Anita Vandermark is our July 2020 Town of Montgomery Citizen of the Month. Anita has been an active participant in so many community organizations and worked many events. When she's described as active, it is certainly an understatement. Anita never sits on the sidelines. She is not a person who joins a group just to say she's a member. Anita gives 110% to whatever she signs up for. She is kind, generous, caring, and always eager to assist. As you will be able to see by the scope of her activities, Anita does not discriminate. She loves her family, her faith, and her community. A list of some of the organizations that she volunteers for are the Town of Montgomery Senior Independence Project, TOMSIP, RSVP, an organization that supports seniors' activities, the Walden Sunshine Society, serving the entire town of Montgomery. For those of you that don't know what the Sunshine Society is, it lends out for free medical supplies to those who need them. And that is something that Anita has been active with during COVID-19 and this pandemic, even though she herself is someone who could potentially have a negative impact if contracting COVID-19. She certainly is been on the front lines as a volunteer throughout this entire 3-month period. She also has volunteered for the Walden and Wallkill Valley Historical Society, the Walden Community Council, in fact, usually hosts a Meet the Candidates night for the village and town, and National Night Out Against Crime, the Walden Veterans Memorial Park Committee, and Walden Harvest Fest, as well as the Friends of Walden Youth. She's also a member of the Ethics Committee of the Village of Walden and has been the chair for many years. She's also, as many of you may know, a contributor to the Wallkill Valley Times, and this is something that Anita goes well above and beyond the job to inform our residents and highlight members in our community on important things that have a positive impact on all of us. Anita maintains shelving units in the lobby of Josephine Louise Public Library, which displays interesting collected items that are informative, holiday related, or just plain enjoyable. Anita Vandermark teaches by example and is the person we all should strive to emulate. Hopefully you all agree that she is an excellent candidate for Citizen of the Month. The answer is yes, we agree, and we are awarding Anita Vandermark our July 2020 Citizen of the Month. I spoke with Anita today, and I look forward to delivering this to her personally, and we'll give you a round of applause. Thank you, Anita, for all that you do. Okay. Is Chief not here?
I believe he may be here now.
He may be here now. We'll give him a minute. As we await the arrival of our Chief of Police, many in the community may have seen from the Wallkill Valley Times that our Chief will be retiring. The effective date of his retirement will be August 1st, less than 1 month away now. And our plaque here, oh, he's here, is going to be presented to him very shortly, as he's timed this very well.
We don't have any background music.
No background music, no walkout
That
music.
would really
Hey, come on in, Chief. Hey.
Wasn't sure. How you doing?
All right, so welcome to the retirement.
Go.
Welcome to the retirement.
Oh,
Your wife's here?
Yeah, she did.
Hi. So welcome to the retirement roast of Chief Butch Amthor. First up is Ron Feller.
Oh boy.
I'm just kidding.
I've known Chief for about 12 years. Actually, I was his brother's CYO basketball coach. I know the Amthors for many, many years. When I came to the board, I was involved in the police negotiation contract. That was about 10, 12 years ago. And Chief got me through it. So together we got through it. And 10 years later, revisited it today. He's always been a good friend to me. He's always helped me out. My wife always, when we go on vacation, I don't know, somebody brought this up 10, 12 years ago. Like when you go on vacation, a lot of people don't know this, you can call the town police up and they will patrol your house. So we started this about 10, 12 years ago, and my wife just call Butch, because we wanted to make sure we go away. Nobody's going to come to our house. Like there's a lot to steal in my house. Anyway. But anyway, I've gone to Butch, Chief Amthor, for guidance on issues as a councilman, as a town resident, and just as a friend. So I'm going to miss him personally. I think you did a great job for the town. I think you did a great job for the community. And it's really been a pleasure knowing you, Butch.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Voss?
I want to thank you for all the years we've worked together.
Thank you very much.
And a great asset to the town. I think we're all going to miss you. And I want to wish you well in your endeavors.
I'm going to probably need some well wishes.
Councilwoman Miller?
Same here. I mean, I know I could call you anytime I needed to, and it's always been a good experience. So we will miss you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Brown?
Only met her just a couple months ago, so.
It's gonna be the best one.
What you gonna say?
Well, I gotta admit that I really appreciated when I walked into your office and said, okay, what do I need to know about the police department? And you said, here's our code of conduct, here's our contract. And I came back and sat down for like 2 hours and went through every question. It was like, wow, these are a lot of questions. But I gotta admit, I knew nothing about police departments besides like, do the speed limit, don't get in trouble, and keep your head down and cry if you get pulled over. So, you know, I really appreciate your knowledge, you know, I mean, really educating me coming onto the board. Yeah, I've only known you 6 months, and I wish that I could know you another 3.5 years.
Appreciate that.
So if we could convince you to stay, but I already went down that road. But you know, I really wish you the best, because life is all about family, and enjoy the time with them. So I wish you the best for your time.
Thank you.
For sure. And Tara, you've known Butch now many years. Do you have anything you want to say?
I mean,
Yeah, I am really going to miss your daily rants. You entertained our office. You made life fun here for us. It was great knowing you, working. Well, I've known you all my life, but working with
Sure.
you. Thank you for always having my back and helping me whenever I need. I'm gonna miss you.
as she said. Actually, I think I have a job offer for you if you're interested. But
She's not.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
She's not interested. We can't have her.
I'm just kidding.
For 2 years.
There you go.
Oh, man. Will, do you have anything to say?
Well, you know, we've been the town attorneys here since the middle of 2018, and I hadn't worked with the chief before that, but I've worked with a lot of police departments and a lot of chiefs, and I think your approach to the job was always twofold. It was always with your department members, their best interests in mind, as well as the town. And some of the correspondence and discussions we've had, there was never a time when you weren't thinking of what's best for the town and what's best for the department. And they were lucky to have you. The town has been lucky to have you a lot longer than I've been here. And wherever you go next, wherever that may be, they're going to be lucky to have you. And your leadership will certainly be missed here, but I think you've done enough with your department where the temporary gap in leadership, just for a little while, I think will be made up for quickly because of the knowledge and the leadership skills that you've left for the remaining members. So I wish you the best. I'm sure I'll be seeing you.
Sure.
And thank you for all you've done for the town.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And before I say what I'll say, is there anyone, I know we have several police officers here from the town. I know that the PBA has something different that they're going to present to you as well on a later date. But does anyone would like to come up here and stand 6 feet away from us and say anything?
That's okay, guys.
Good? Okay, just wanted to offer that opportunity. Butch, listen, I've known you now more than 10 years. We go back to my days as mayor of the Village of Walden, way back when we had this really crazy idea of consolidating police departments and dissolving the village into the town, and you and I got to work very closely on what that would mean, and during that process I learned just how much you cared and how much knowledge you had, very much knowledge you had in terms of policing and keeping our community safe. You were basically a foundation of my education into policing at the municipal level, so that's something that I will always take with me throughout my career. And you'll always be a part of that, so thank you. And I certainly enjoyed the couple months that we shared here together, serving. and look forward to continuing to hopefully give you a call if I need something and pick on your brain and get some advice. And at this point, I'll present to you very carefully this plaque on behalf of the town of Montgomery to Arnold Bush Amthor, Chief of Police of the town of Montgomery Police Department. Thank you for keeping our community safe and for your unwavering commitment to the residents of the town of Montgomery, June 11th, 2007 to August 1st, 2020.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The floor is.
I've talked so much today that I actually have a little bit of a headache, I'll be honest with you. So, but I just want to appreciate everything. I really do. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
you all know how to reach out for me. I may not be too far down the road here, so, okay? Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Coach.
Thank you. Want to take a picture of the chief with the plaque?
I absolutely do.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Put him in.
Here, well, okay, so put him here, and then we'll all just kind of
There we go.
stand in the back.
So I'll stand here.
Right, we're gonna stand 6 feet away.
We'll learn to do
Yep.
the COVID.
We'll,
I think, Bill, you can probably bring them closer together through some technical thing, right? Okay.
all right.
Drop your mask. All right. One more. Let's see
He's the highest paid photographer.
There you go. Thank you. Thanks again, everybody. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. You
Where's
guys.
your mask?
Oh, wow. Yeah, don't forget that. I promise I'll come back to get a tour of the building next
This
year.
one's yours, actually. That's, Chief, I need that one back.
This one?
That one's Anita's, sorry, I gave you the wrong one. This one, no, not the wrong
Oh.
flag. This thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, gotcha. All right, thanks again.
And thank you,
Yes.
Mrs. Amthor, for joining us, and thank you for supporting him. He can't do what he does to serve the town without you, so thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody. All right,
Thank all the officers for coming.
thank you, guys.
Good night, be safe.
Yeah. It's like a beach party.
Never seen that uniform.
Looks like we lost the,
The conference call line?
bear with me, just getting the conference line back.
I just sent the picture to everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Everybody should still be on from the call, even if I got off. Anyone on the line for public comments? I will leave this open for about a minute or two because it's possible someone got cut off. I don't think so.
They just kind of yelled in.
No, I think,
We need to open the
There's
regular
times
meeting.
I try to get on there and it's.
oh, we do? Okay. We are calling this meeting to order now that it is 7:04 p.m. This is the regular town board meeting. The first portion of the meeting, we had 2 public hearings scheduled, which we've gotten out of the way. We've also awarded our Citizen of the Month to Anita Vandermark, and we just presented our Chief of Police, Butch Amthor, with a plaque thanking him for his over 13 years of service to the town of Montgomery. We are now going to get into public comments on the business of the town board. So is anyone on the line currently who would like to make a comment as part of the public comment? Yep, I know.
Elaine Buck Phillips.
Hey Elaine, if you have,
I'm calling for Joe Buck Smith.
What, if you could turn off the, I think you have a computer on in the background. If you could turn the volume down.
Okay, I turned it off.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, I'm calling for Joan Buck-Smith. She was gonna call in, but I had to, take her to the hospital this morning, so
Sorry to hear that.
I'm calling with what I think she wanted to speak about
Okay.
the lilac bush in front of her historic home.
Yes. And could you repeat your name as well for the record?
Elaine Buck Phillips.
Thank you. I know that I've spoken to Joan about the lilac bush. Is there anything specifically that you wanted to mention about it, or she wanted to make that issue aware at this meeting?
Yes, she wanted to make it aware about that machine that they use
Okay.
and what a mess it makes and how it took down the lilac, part of the lilac bush and left it all raggedy. And she has the historic home, and she went out and told them not to do it, but they still did it. And it's very upsetting.
Understood. And just so the rest of the board knows, and so that you know, I did speak with Joan Buck-Smith about this. We have corresponded with Sean Mears, our superintendent of highways, to talk about this matter. And there are a couple of remedies that potentially could be in place with the bushes for its future vitality, if I could use the right word. So we're looking into this matter. Please let Joan know we hope she's feeling better, and we appreciate you bringing this to our attention at the public meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the line who has a public comment? Okay. Moving on to old business, a Benedict Park Farm plantings update. Will, you want to lead the way on this one? I know you're very eager to.
Well, certainly it's a matter of public concern that's been raised, and it's been talked about extensively by the town board and by members of the community. The latest update I can give the board is that yesterday I had a productive conversation with a representative of the New York State Parks Department with regard to how we're going to move forward. The position that I articulated to the representative that I spoke to is that the town board is of the mindset that we want to have a restoration of the fields to a grass planting situation, and that we are working with the individual who plowed the field, and we're having discussions with that individual, and we're coming up with a couple of different scenarios where we can accomplish the restoration in a manner that's satisfactory to everybody concerned, whether it's the community gardens members, the Conservation Advisory Committee, the town board, residents in general. So it was a very positive conversation. The way we left it is that they are aware that the town's working on this issue. We're going to be presenting, after the town board comes to a consensus after further discussions, we're going to be presenting our first and second and third options potentially to the state to make sure that they're satisfied that the course of action selected by the town meets with their specifications. We're all aware that grant money was received by the town to establish the park, to purchase it, to put the facilities into the park, and we're aware of the requirements to continue maintaining the property as parkland. We're going to continue working until the state is satisfied and that we come up with a solution. They were happy to hear that. I'm going to stay in touch with those representatives, and my next communications with them will probably involve the supervisor and Councilwoman Brown, who's been working very hard on coming up with different options that are environmentally sound and will be satisfactory for the future to have habitat life at the park, and also to have those fields in a condition that's satisfactory to the town board and to everybody else. So that's where we are right now.
Thanks, Bill. Kristen, do you have anything to add?
Just so that way the public knows, the research that I've done, I've spoken with the manager of crop production services in Pine Island. I spoke to Ethan Grunberg of Cornell Cooperative Extension and Cornell Cooperative Extension. Cornell is our land-grant university that we look to for guidelines, and the extension is basically the field agents that help us in the field for recommendations. Also, other research I've done, the bird habitat management at Benedict Farm Park, I looked up what kind of birds, this is a publication that they put out, and I can make copies for board members, but just trying to be sensitive to the bird habitat that's present in the fields. I started looking up each one of these birds between the DEC fact sheets and the Audubon to see what their habitat is, because I think that's a consideration also with the grassland habitat birds. Moving forward, this is all just past history with the town board, but I think there's more. There's more than just the soybean issue at hand. I think we need to move forward and decide how to, but it's also going to be what are those fields going to be used for with sensitivity towards the habitats. Because certain birds live near the rivers and the buffers near the rivers. Certain birds will live, like the eastern bluebird lives in the bluebird houses. Most of the bluebird houses are actually in the wetland area, which is not to be mowed except once every 3 years. So when you drive up by the park, there are bluebird houses that I believe the CAC has installed. They stand up in the poles in the middle of the wetland area. I also looked up, while they're not certified organic, because I specifically asked that question of the chairwoman that was here at the last meeting for the CAC. When you're certified organic, you have an extra level not only of protection, but you adhere to these guidelines. Based on the research, in addition to what she had said at the last board meeting, they follow organic standards. So I've also been looking into what is the buffer from an organic field and what are the options with that. And once I get more information, I can share it with the rest of the board.
Great.
Thank you.
And
Bless you.
God bless you. Yeah.
One more thing to add. As we instructed the farmer last time, no further action has been taken at the park, and no action will be taken until the board directs anything to happen. So everyone should be aware of that. Thank
To
you.
the best of my knowledge, nothing has been sprayed so
Correct.
far, and he is not to spray anything until we derive at a decision of how to move forward, so.
Yes, to reiterate to those watching online, and I know that there's been a lot of press on this issue, both at the local paper and our regional paper, the Times Record. We want to let the public know that no herbicides of any kind have been sprayed, and if the board does not give permission, nothing can be sprayed moving forward. So if anyone is saying, make a decision now or else something's going to happen, Mr. Owens has been served with a cease and desist letter, and so that is something that our attorney was very quick to make sure we presented once we were made aware of the situation. So we're working on it, and another thing that's very important for me, as Will and I and Kristen work towards a solution, to include our local stakeholders, the CAC, the community garden, once we have a plan and speak with New York State Parks and have those discussions. Prior to the next board meeting on July 16th, our hope is also to sit down or have some phone conversations with members of those groups and other stakeholders. And I appreciate personally all of the emails and phone calls I've received from concerned residents and local farmers, and keep them coming. We appreciate everybody's feedback, and we certainly want to hear it as part of our decision-making process. Does the board have any other comments before we move on?
Thank you for your research.
Okay,
Thanks, guys. A lot of work.
keep it up. Thank you. All right, next on the list, we had a bunch of new applicants for the ethics board, so very positive that we sent that out again and looked for some more applicants. We are looking now to set a date for ethics board interviews. We can either have myself or someone else conduct the interviews, or the entire board can conduct the interviews, as we have been doing with all of our other boards. So just looking to get your guys' feedback on that.
I think we should all do it. Yeah, I think we should all do it.
I love that we all do it. More bonding time for us. Okay.
Do they also have to go through the same,
Yeah, they'll be vetted.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, even the new ones, they'll have the same process completed,
Background check, yep.
yeah.
Okay, so what I'd love to do is schedule this for Tuesday, July 21st. If you guys can make that work, and this would take place, it's been working earlier in the day. I know Cindy, you have some trouble depending on how early it is, so what if we did maybe 3 o'clock?
I'll try to work around it, just
The earlier
whatever
the
works for
better.
everybody else.
Earlier the better for me
Are we
too.
still doing the 21st, the joint meeting with Walden?
Yeah, so we could do it prior to that, or we could do it on a different day.
It's a
So
Tuesday.
Tuesday, July 21st, our joint meeting at 6:30 PM in the Village of Walden. We could do the interviews and then all go over together there instead of being out multiple nights a week for the meetings. We could all do both of those meetings in one day, which I think I'd prefer to do that, but it's up to you guys and gals.
I would prefer to do it.
Actually, I'm on vacation that week, so I can do that anytime.
Okay,
Okay.
great. So let's do the ethics board interviews. There shouldn't be too many of them at 3 o'clock.
So that'll be a special meeting.
Special meeting for the purpose of conducting interviews for prospective ethics board members. 3 PM Tuesday, July 21st.
Someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Just going to put this in the schedule. Special board meeting, ethics board.
The joint meeting is that night?
Yes. I know Tuesdays are rough for you. It's the Village of Walden regular
No, I
meeting.
can get there. What time is it?
6:30 PM.
Do I have to make a special notice for that one too?
What, the joint meeting?
Yeah.
Can you do that already?
No, this is a new date.
Okay, yeah, that should be, there should be a motion for the joint meeting as well.
So moved.
That's gonna be at Walden?
Yeah, Village Hall in Walden. It's their regularly scheduled meetings, so we're just kind of,
Is that open to the public?
yeah, just kind of invading their meeting.
6:30?
Did they notice it?
They have noticed it, yes, but I think we
They need
have,
to notice it too?
I think we have to as well as our
Yes.
entity.
Okay.
Yes, if the board is going to all be.
They didn't notice the joint meeting. That's just a regularly scheduled meeting.
What time is our meeting with them?
6:30 PM.
6:30.
So that's gonna be, we're in the middle of stage 4 then, is that correct?
We potentially 2 weeks could be out of stage 4, but I don't know what's gonna
Could
happen.
be delayed to phase 4.
Joint board
There's a little
meeting,
one backwards.
Village of Walden.
I think phase 4.
We'll see.
What is that for, that meeting?
Annexation.
Which was restaurants,
Yeah.
where people eating inside restaurants.
Okay. 6:30. We're also gonna put on that agenda, Hill Street Bridge and, one other item. We'll put an agenda together, a joint agenda with the mayor of Walden, Sue Rumbold. Okay, those 2 items are done. New business.
Motion.
Whoa, I thought we did. We didn't?
The second for the Walden one?
The Walden notice? I'm sorry. So, who would like to make that motion for the joint meeting with Walden?
I'll be.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Melick, seconded by Councilwoman Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that motion is for a joint meeting with the Village of Walden for the purpose of annexation and to discuss the Hill Street Bridge and any other minor items that may come up. Tuesday, July 21st, 6:30 PM at Village of Walden Hall, 1 Municipal Square, Walden, New York. What do I have at 6? How do you get there? That's funny. That's funny.
Oh, I know what it is.
All right, new business, town police chief search. How exciting. This has not been a vacancy for quite some time. I've been in contact with Orange County Civil Service, our labor council, on the process moving forward. It is my goal and it is my hope that you all agree to have a very open process, to invite individuals both within our department and outside our department to apply. If someone who applies, it does not qualify based on civil service, they'll be notified and they won't be able to be considered for the position. And I think what would be appropriate is to promote that there is, we're accepting resumes for the position from starting tomorrow to July 17th. That's a 2-week window. At that point, we would set meetings, potentially at our, set interviews, potentially at our July 16th meeting for the week of July 20th. And that would be the goal. And then we have 2 weeks to interview and hire before August 1st.
Week of the 20th.
Sorry? Yeah, week of the 20th would be interviews, July 20th. And again, I'm flexible on that, but that's the time frame I'm working under at the moment.
Well, we're already got July 21st taken care of.
Yeah, so we're not going to be.
No, I'm away, 22nd to the 24th.
Looks like it's going to be the 20th.
It's gonna be the 20th.
Monday the 20th. So actually, I just realized we want to have the resumes out to us, right? The 20th, 16th. We'll be collecting resumes for the next 2 weeks. So what we'll do is we will have the last date to submit a resume. We'll promote starting tomorrow. And if we're going to set a date at our 16th board meeting, we'll have the resumes collected until Wednesday, end of business day. That is July 15th. So that'll be just under 2 weeks. We could put an ad in the Walkabout Times for next Wednesday, and we could put it on our Facebook and website. If you guys are okay with this process, we'll start promoting it.
Did we say last week that there's only actually 3 people on the chief's list?
There is currently 3 individuals on the police chief B list, which is the one we would go off of here in the town of Montgomery. But there are also other scenarios that exist if we decide to hire someone or have a provisional hire. And that's
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If we started this position off as a part-time position, then we wouldn't have to go on this, correct?
All of that is open for discussion. There are some scenarios that exist where we could hire a part-time chief. There are also other.
Temporarily and then change it to full-time.
We could temporarily. There's also other issues to consider. We did receive a letter from the PBA, urging us to have a full-time chief and also to hire within the department. So there's a lot of things to consider, but doesn't mean we shouldn't look at all of our options, including those outside of our department or part-time candidates. So it is my thought that we would take all the resumes and interview the best candidates, whether they be full-time or part-time, and see how we do.
What's in their contract? I don't know that I have a copy of their contract.
The PBA contract?
Yeah, does it specifically state that chief is a?
Chief is running.
No, it's not in the PBA contract.
I thought there was a section that said that there needed to be a full-time chief.
Contract?
In the PBA contract, I think anything, what you're referring to is she's right. Any position other than police officer is to be full-time, I believe is what they have written in the contract.
Yeah.
Now, I think it could be interpreted that does not include police chief since they're not as part of the union. I don't know, they might differ on us with that one, but I think that might be the clause you're referring to, Kristen.
You didn't see me with my
Well, if
fingers.
we went for a full-time chief, there's only 3 people on that list.
You can make a provisional hire for someone who's not on that list as long as they meet civil service qualifications, which
They
include
have to be a supervisor for so long.
18 months.
Yeah.
So in our department, they would have to be a sergeant or above, and we have 6 active sergeants in our department. So technically, we could interview and they would qualify based on minimal qualifications, all 6 sergeants.
To take the test.
Well,
We would then have to call for a test, yes, if we decided to go that way.
Wait, can you repeat that again? I'm just looking up the
Yeah.
section, which I found it.
Go ahead, read the section if you like.
So section 5.2.1 section, do you want me to read the whole paragraph or just a sentence?
Just a sentence that speaks to the
Okay.
officer, yeah.
All supervisory positions above the rank of police officer shall be filled on a full-time competitive basis. However, the decision to fill the position shall be at the discretion of the town board.
Correct.
So yes, we fill it, but it says right here that it's a full-time competitive basis.
That's also open to discussion and will help me out with this. We can get some clarity if that also includes chief of police. Because,
We'll get to this in executive session.
okay.
Thank you.
So the point, because we're gonna get a lot of this technical stuff, the process should be open. So the process should allow us to look at all of our options. We're not gonna get answers to all of your questions, but we'll have the opportunity to take in resumes in a variety of different backgrounds. That's what I'd like to see. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I agree.
Ryan, you okay?
Yeah,
He's got his mind's thinking about
I know,
something,
I'm
right?
wondering, I'm like,
You
he's
can
got
say it
this
if you
I'm
want.
wondering if we're wasting a lot of people's time by asking them to apply for a position that really they're not gonna be acceptable.
We won't have anyone interview who will not
They won't
qualify.
interview.
No. They can put a resume in, that's not wasting someone's time, maybe. We'll tell them if their qualifications
Nobody's
don't
gonna put a
match.
resume in for a job that they cannot get. We're presenting it that they can get it. Or are we saying, in order to get an interview, you must meet the minimum qualifications? of the
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
That would be-
anybody-
that would be in the
promote,
posting.
yeah, we're gonna promote the minimum qualifications,
The
so.
job posting will,
Pretty much
Say
anybody
what the
that
minimum
applies for a
qualifications
chief knows what they gotta have.
Yeah, I agree with Sherry on that one too.
They're already civil servants, you know,
Yeah.
they know the rules.
That's true, but there are,
Give us an example. I'm not sure what your concern is.
can a retired lieutenant apply for the job?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They'll need supervisory experience of at least 18 months over the position of police officer. So a
and there
retired
might be a
lieutenant.
couple
will-
other little technical things with
couple
that,
other
because it depends how long it's been out.
Right.
Yes.
There might be waivers involved,
So
yes.
they'd have to give back some of their retirement pay
No,
or
but
take
they
a
have to-
buyout.
or get a 211 waiver. or-
Correct.
There's three, there's A, B, and C
We're
on
B.
this document for police chief B. that
Or
they-
B.
A, B, and C, that they would need to complete to even be considered for an interview.
Right.
They
Well,
would need to show us or demonstrate to us that they meet one of these three qualifications, because then they would have to sit for the chief's desk, right?
correct.
If they're not.
One of the three qualifications?
Yep,
So it's either or, not all three?
no, correct, either one, one of the three.
Yeah, we're B.
No, I-
No, I'm looking on
Oh, you're
the
looking at
list.
the list itself, the civil
Yeah, the
service
one that
list?
you emailed out.
Okay.
Police chief B, minimum qualifications. A, graduation from a regionally accredited college or university, or one accredited by the New York State Board of Regents to grant degrees with a bachelor's degree in competitive appointment as a police officer in New York State, or a member of the New York State Police with 5 years service, 18 months of which have been in an advisory supervisory rank with direction over subordinate levels of supervision, or completion of 60 college credits from a regionally accredited college or university, or one accredited by the New York State Board of Regents to grant degrees, and 6 years of service as described in A above, 18 months of which should be in an administrative supervisory rank with direction over subordinate levels of supervision, or completion of 30 credits from a regionally accredited college or university of one accredited by the New York State Board of Regents to grant degrees, and 7 years of service as described in A above, 18 months of which have been in an administrative supervisory rank with direction over subordinate levels of supervision. They have to meet A, B, or C.
So to
It
answer,
sounded like you went A, B, C, and D.
Brian sent that document to us if you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Read it again.
Just
But-
make sure that you read the police chief B.
but to my, yes, and I sent that message out to you guys, but to my point, they're gonna know these qualifications before they apply, and certainly they won't get an interview if they don't meet the qualifications.
It's gonna be in the list.
Yeah. Do you wanna work on that?
Sure.
And we'll get it out tomorrow?
Do that.
Okay. Any other questions before we move on?
So this will be effective to people that we decide to hire or expect to start August 1st, I think that's an unreasonable date for somebody who's got a position of authority as a police chief or police sergeant someplace else, who's on the list, to give their people notice and start with us 2 days down the road.
We have no idea if that's going to be the case.
We hired provisionally one of our sergeants until.
We have no
Start
idea,
date?
we have no
Yeah.
idea, if
Start date?
we have no idea if the candidate that we select for chief is gonna be working for another department, if it's,
I understand that.
yeah, so
I
we don't.
think it's an unreasonable expectation, interviewing people with July something.
Nobody here has said that we're gonna demand that they start August 1st.
Oh,
So,
effectively.
There's going to be an officer in charge for a while.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
Flexible on the start date.
Okay, we'll move forward. All right. Resolution to hire part-time recreation director. This is a process that we put in place many, many months ago, and then COVID-19 happened. The reality of the Benedict Farm Park situation that we've currently had, for me personally, has exploited certainly a post and a degree of leadership and accountability by forming a recreation and parks department, which was the ultimate goal of the board last year when you funded this position in this department the way that you did. I think it's time to ready to go and move forward. We had discussed internally potential candidate. We had 2 interviews, and the hope today is that we hire one of those interviewees as the recreation director part-time and one as the recreation aide. I'm ready to go ahead and ask for a motion if that's all right with the board.
We have both those positions available, we don't
Yes.
have to make that decision.
We created both, and they are created, and
Both created.
yeah, we were ready to go in March, and then, yeah, that happened to happen. So the first resolution is a resolution of the town board of the town of Montgomery appointing a part-time recreation director. Whereas there exists a vacancy in the town of Montgomery for a part-time recreation director, whereas Michael Bliss fulfills the civil service requirements of knowledge, skill, and experience for the part-time recreation director position. And whereas the town of Montgomery has a need for a part-time recreation director for the efficient and cost-effective functioning of the town. And whereas it is the opinion of the town board of the town of Montgomery that the aforesaid person is qualified to fill said position. And therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Montgomery hereby appoints Michael Bliss to the position of part-time recreation director to serve in said capacity at the town of Montgomery at the starting salary of $8,000 for the year 2020, effective as of July 6th, 2020. All of which is subject to the completion and receipt of a satisfactory background check and the submission to and approval by the Orange County Department of Human Resources, Civil Service Department of all appropriate documentation. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve this resolution?
Can we have a discussion a little bit on that?
Sure.
Needs to be seconded for discussion first. Need a
Motion
motion?
second.
Seconded for discussion.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I will.
Motion made by Councilwoman Cindy Boss.
You want a second for discussion? Somebody does?
I'll second it for the purpose of discussion.
Right.
Go ahead, Ron.
What was the original salary that we had when we discussed it 3 or 4 months ago?
10,000.
So 10,000 for was going to be for the whole year.
Yeah. Well, it was for the month of probably April on. So April, May, June.
But it was an annual salary of 10,000.
Yes, but it was brought about in the month of March, so the knowledge was that it would be for April through December, not January through December. So that was not weighed as an annual 12-month salary.
So are we saying that this effectively is a $16,000 a year job now for next year's budget?
No, we're not saying that.
Well,
So he's going to take a pay cut?
He is completely subject to what we decide to do during our next budget cycle and how this moves along. He is an at-will employee, and if things don't work out or we feel like we are going to change the salary, we'll have the ability to do that during our budget process for next year.
I think when we were talking about it too, there isn't much going on in the winter, so we weren't really going to use them during the winter anyway, but it would be like the April.
I don't know about that.
yeah, so that's an interesting point, Ron, because then how are we gonna budget for that position next year?
I think,
Do we just say that he makes $10,000 next year and he would take a pay cut, like, or
I
he
don't
just
think-
works less
A big
hours?
pay
or-
cut.
I don't think we need to make that decision now. I think we,
Were we
That's
gonna
why we're
try
having-
this anyway, aren't we offering him this just for this year? So
Yeah.
we wanted to try this to see how it was
I
gonna
think there are a
work.
lot of factors that we discussed that are question marks related to this specific individual, and over the next several months, we're gonna see if any of those concerns bear fruit. what the value is to the town for having someone of his experience in, even though he's got another full-time job. And I don't think we're paying a lot of money for the next several months to find out if this is gonna be a good value. I personally believe it's gonna be a great value to the town, and we're not spending a lot of money for a very large return we're gonna receive. Again, that's gonna have to be proven and shown, and during the budget process, everything that's done or not done from now till then will weigh whether or not we go forward with this, both this individual and the salary.
Is this something we would reappoint him in January, at that new salary?
I believe so, yeah.
So the 8,000 is just gonna get split up for the next,
Yep,
however
6
so many
months.
weeks.
from July 6th
Yeah.
to
What's
December
this?
31st, $8,000 will be split up in a bi-weekly manner. Yeah,
So it's effectively $16,100 to use,
Well, no, not if
No.
you reappoint him in January at a
No,
new
you-
rate.
not if we appoint him in January for a new rate, right, but this rate is basically
Yeah.
$16,100.
to Ron's point, yes, if this was a full calendar year and we take this rate for what it is, his pay, part-time pay would be $16,000 annually,
So what's,
which again is not a lot for a part-time recreation coordinator.
what's the total cost to the town? It's not just the 16,000, it's
So-
not just the 8,000, because we also have,
We can get those numbers for you, but this is the salary that we'd be approving this evening as part of the
It's not
position.
getting insurance. it's part of
No,
it.
no
we
medical.
would have to do disability and workers' comp
No,
on a part-time
Yes.
employee, yeah,
Workers' comp and disability, but not health insurance.
correct.
And that's part of a larger package. So we can certainly quantify that, maybe in some way.
But there would be an additional expense for the, beyond the 8,000.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have a cell phone, right, so that's an expense.
Cell phone is gonna have a car?
No,
And how many hours a week is this?
so it's not based on an hourly position, it's a salary position. So it's gonna work as, here's your tasks, complete your tasks. And if you don't complete your tasks, then you're not gonna continue working here. And that's how I view it.
and he'll report directly to you,
Yes,
and you will sign these tests.
yes. His duties and responsibilities, and then he'll have to execute his job as recreation director. And I'm excited to get him started. I have a history working with this individual for 6 years in Walden, and I know where his heart's at, I know his work ethic, and I think it's gonna be a positive thing, but again, we will all see together.
While we're on the discussion, if we had a parks director, I don't think it would have affected people planting what they planted.
I disagree,
Okay.
yep, totally disagree, yeah.
So how are we gonna deal with the fact that he does have another full-time job with?
We're gonna give him a task list, and if he doesn't complete the tasks, because of whatever reason, whether it be job or, he's just not qualified, whatever it is, we'll evaluate that. So this is certainly you guys saying, hey, if there's concerns, you're gonna have them, but using this as a time and an opportunity to give it a trial run. I'm comfortable with it, but we all have to be, or at least the majority of this board would have to be.
I would request a frequent report back to the board of what he is accomplishing to ensure that we're not just paying for him to work for the village wall.
You will be pleasantly surprised when you receive such reports. I hope.
We have from now till.
How would he even have known what the planting procedure was gonna be?
Let's go backwards. So he would have
I mean, I had
this
this job for
individual.
2 years, and I had no idea. I know Charlie mowed certain stuff once a year, and certain stuff once every 3 years. We had a hay contract, and amen, going down. How would we know that the Parks and Rec director is gonna be involved in what a farmer is planting on our parks?
Because he's going to know his parks. If he's in
Because
charge of his parks,
now
he's
it's
going
come
to
to
know.
light, and now we know. I mean, but how would he have known, looking back?
Because he's a director of Parks and Recreation. He's been that for his entire life. He's been in Parks and Recreation since he was 14 years old, and he's been the head of the program for the last
Parks and
11 years.
Recreation has very, very, very little to do. Parks and
My
Recreation.
point, Ron, for this specific individual is that he has enough of a if he has a responsibility, he's going to know what's going on in his parks. If something's going on, for example, if Cindy gave me a phone call on something that was happening, I would have reached out to our recreation director. It would have been investigated and certainly potentially caught before soybeans were planted. I have no doubt whatsoever. And that's where I would say you have a point of contact who's a director, that's his responsibility, he would have mitigated that situation, and we might not be in the situation we're in. I personally believe
You
that.
read the duties and responsibilities of the Parks and Recreation?
Mike Bliss goes above and beyond the duties and responsibilities of the recreation.
You read the requirements,
Yes,
and is there anything in there about farming the field?
it doesn't matter. In my opinion, it doesn't matter, and
You can't say that's not my job, I
you-
look at my,
If-
what's
if that was the type of
responsibilities.
person that he was, I would not be putting his name forward, I wouldn't be putting
I
my
have
name
nothing
forward.
against the candidate, believe me,
Okay.
I like Mike, but all I'm saying is looking at, how would he know, as a Parks and Recreation guy, what the farmer was planting at Benedict Park, and could have stopped it?
I don't know if
Because
he
he
would
would
have
do
needed
his
to-
own research.
Well, I don't know if he would have needed to know, Ron, just enough to come back and say, listen, this just happened.
Yeah,
Brian, you know he's doing this, let's go forward on it.
What just
What do
happened?
we got?
He planted stuff in Benedict Park.
Ron,
When the
there
rain
were
rises
plenty of things that happened prior to him planting soybeans, that if he was in the position that he was in, I would have been notified, he would have been on top of it, and would have known the players, and would have been able to adjust and take action so that things would not have happened the way they did. I absolutely believe that personally.
Not to interrupt you guys, but
Yeah.
let's face facts, right? You
Yeah.
know, farmers are less than 1% of the total average of people on this planet.
Yeah.
So unless you're a farmer, Ron's right. You're not gonna know what a soybean planter is versus a grass drill versus anything else.
It's not about that.
But the fact of the matter is that we do need to move forward
Yeah,
and figure out how we're gonna get grass seed in the ground. But that is a different subject. So while I agree
it is a
with
different
Ron,
subject.
But
I
I think
think-
somebody being in the park, overseeing it and having this as their responsibility is the point, not
Yes.
whether there's soybeans in the ground.
But
Agreed.
my point is, how do we know that he's in the park and he's not working for Walden?
We will learn that.
I mean, that's one thing, right?
That's-
If he's there 9 to 4 and he's working for us from 5 to 9, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then we have much more of a set schedule and we know he's gonna be there. Who's doing the coordination on the fields? Is he gonna be there when there's events there? You know, you telling me that he's got a salary with a set schedule, with set deliverables, still makes me very concerned that
He's
he's
not
not
gonna be
going
one-
to be overlapping with Walden.
He's not gonna be one person, he's gonna be managing a department, which currently has one recreation aide, and we're about to hire a second recreation aide, so it's not gonna be Mike Bliss with a full-time job doing everything you just said he's gonna be doing. He's gonna be managing a department with 2 other employees, part-time employees underneath him, and he'll make sure the tasks get done, and that is what his experience is in, managing a department. That's my sell.
Because we don't have copies of his job description. And later on, it's clerk compensation. How is the coordination going to be between who schedules the fields?
Yeah, so when we have a recreation director, he will establish that process. And that's why we have someone with his experience, because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how his process is going to work. He's gonna go ahead and create the department and manage the process. The first thing he's gonna do, which a lot of it he's already made phone calls and started to find out the information, is do an inventory of how things work right now, how we can make things better, how we maybe need to adjust fees, how things are offered, and he has the knowledge. I mean, we're in a very unique situation, specifically with this candidate, where he has that background to be ahead of the game in this position, and we're getting it at a bargain price. So that's why I'm putting this forward. Those are my only motivations. I think he's gonna do wonders to bring our department to where it needs to be, and I can't wait to work with him.
I don't have a problem trying it from now to the end of the year, you know, and then reevaluating it with
I
next
agree.
year's appointments.
Totally agree.
What's your feeling on?
I take exception to the bargain price. It's not a bargain price if he works 5 hours a week. It's not a bargain price.
He's not gonna work 5 hours.
That's $100 an hour, $120.
Ron, he's not gonna work 5 hours.
You don't know that.
I do.
You didn't? Okay,
Yeah.
well, you've got a mind reader, so that's fine.
I'm not a mind reader, I know who he is.
The position calls for X amount of dollars per hour, just put in time cards, and you got paid how many dollars an hour when you work, period. You didn't get paid $8,000, and it's like being an elected official. We don't want to come to our meetings. We make a lot of an hour.
Ron, you're assuming the worst of this
I'm not
person.
assuming. the worst.
Yes, you are. I don't know where you're going with this.
No, I
I'm saying
understand
this
this
is,
is,
that's a bargain price.
You're gonna see a massive return for $8,000 investment. That's what I'm selling to this board, yes. I am. And you don't have to buy it, but if you support it and move forward and approve this motion, I think you're all gonna pleasantly be surprised when you see it.
Well, we got 6 months to find out.
We do.
Okay.
And then this gets reevaluated in 6 months, and if
It'll
it's
get
not.
reevaluated in a month, you know?
in January.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the
Actually-
appointment, if the appointment is, if it's not satisfactory, it can be ended before the end of the year.
Correct.
Okay, because we would actually need to revisit this before the November budget.
For sure.
we're gonna have to budget something.
Right,
for it.
that's what I'm wondering.
The recreation director is gonna be helping put the budget together. So, yes, I mean, that's absolutely gonna be, we're gonna revisit this regularly.
But we did budget for it last year, just to even.
And you
that-
already,
Right, that was it.
we already gave up
Exactly.
30,000 to,
You know, we were working. But I mean,
on something else.
we did.
To start.
We did look at the
Sure, we'll
market
take
budget
more.
for it, just like we would do this year, regardless of if it's like
Oh,
Bliss or
okay.
somebody else in January.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on this resolution before we call for a vote?
Checking my minutes.
All right, Cindy,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes?
Jerry,
Yeah.
Kristen?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a yay. Thank you. The next resolution, Theron Atkins also interviewed for the position. Very exceptional young man. I call him a young man, he's older than me. He is going to be someone we're looking to have appointed as a part-time recreation aide. This is gonna fill our department with one recreation director, two part-time recreation aides, so 3 part-timers. And the appointment resolution reads, as of the town board, the town of Montgomery appointing a part-time recreation aide. Theron Atkins will fulfill the civil service requirements of knowledge, skill, and experience in the part-time recreation aide position. Going down to therefore be it resolved, we would appoint Theron Atkins to the position of part-time recreation aide to serve in said capacity at the starting hourly rate of $16.50 per hour during a 6-month probationary period, effective as July 6th, 2020, which shall automatically increase to $17.50 per hour if deemed appropriate by the completion and receipt of satisfactory, otherwise determined by the appropriate town board.
What time period?
Yeah, this is the same thing. This is an employee who is,
No, from
6 months.
6 months.
yeah,
So what is Ronnie Lewis now?
I believe he's over that. I believe he's 16, I believe 17 something. I'll check
Alex,
that.
Ron Lewis, not with us.
That's a good question.
5 years?
5 years. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councilwoman Sherry Melick,
Second.
seconded by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller. Any discussion?
What is the approximate number of hours that he's looking, that
Well,
we're
you
gonna
can't
hire him
work
for?
Really good question.
Over 2020, right?
Yeah, but he could work 35 hours a week and not go over that from now till the end of the year. So that's gonna be open for, that's gonna be open to discussion based on the workload and based on his availability and what we need to do.
He does have a full-time job, right?
Yeah, Middletown Fire Department. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Okay, so previously, when we were discussing this item, we also discussed in the clerk's office, having someone as a point of contact to be the individual who takes in a lot of the events, helps manage the calendar along with whoever we hire as a recreation director, and also take in the funds. So this is a natural duty of the position that's currently there. We were discussing a potential stipend, but a stipend would not qualify based on the fact that the job description is currently includes the activities that she would have. So instead of having that $1,500 stipend, we would consider an 83-cent per hour raise, which if you go work in 35 hours, it comes to $1,510.43 or something like that. So that is what I would put on the table for the board to consider. And the individual in the clerk's office who would handle this would be Lisa DeStefano. And she's been handling this for the last,
Yeah, and I was
how
part
long? There.
of the original discussions that we had.
Lisa, she's been kind of handling the park stuff a lot for like the last year or so.
Well, just this year.
Okay.
Before we were all doing it, and it just didn't work because we don't know what Lisa had said to somebody, so that's why we decided to focus it on just the one person doing
Great.
it.
Okay. And this is something we've done in consultation with the clerk's office, so.
I thought that, the Secretary DeShawn was gonna take that over.
No,
Wasn't that
it was
mentioned?
mentioned. It was mentioned, yes.
Butch also had a
Had
candidate.
Marissa was gonna try to do it as well.
To do that, but,
So-
it involved taking money also.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Lisa has taken money and handled it very well.
Okay.
And we actually, Tara, myself, and Brian, and myself, kind of asked if she would continue doing it.
Okay.
I think it's a good fit. She does a good job. She knows all the people now. She knows how to do it.
So how long has she been taking the money for the car and scheduling it?
The clerk's office has always done it. This is the first year that Lisa's doing it by herself. Like, so if somebody calls to reserve the pavilion, you'd say, no,
She
you gotta
has
talk
to
to
do it,
Lisa.
yeah.
Because we were just overscheduling or not knowing what the other one said. So this is the first year though, it's just been focused with Lisa.
I think there was a time that supervisor secretary.
Yeah, it went from my office up to the supervisor. And then 2 years ago, it got thrown back down at the clerk's office.
And we thought about that too, and Megan certainly volunteered her time to do that within her job description, but again, it goes back to the handling of the money and the funds, and that's why we brought it back.
To the clerk's office, I can understand that.
So, we couldn't do the stipend, like we did with the deputy registrar of vital statistics during the budget process, because it's not characterized as a separate and above and beyond the duties for her position, since this is within her duties as a, according to civil service for clerk. This is how we would compensate for the duties related to recreation and parks. Do you need a resolution for this, or can we make the motion to approve and the effective date be July 6th?
Make a motion.
Would anyone like to make a motion to,
I'm really sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So it's going to be effective
So
July
she's-
6th, but it's going to be 1,500?
no, so
Increase
technically,
an hourly increase in the salary of
Yes.
this particular
For
part-time
this
clerk,
she knows that.
an additional 83 cents
She, I
per
talked
hour.
to her today about that.
Because it's an hourly
It's not a stipend.
Oh, it's an hourly raise of how much?
83 cents. It comes out
Took it up for the whole year.
15.10. and change. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve an 83-cent raise for clerk? What is her?
She's the second deputy clerk.
Second deputy clerk, Lisa DeStefano, with the start date of July 6th, 2020.
So she'll be working with Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. And Darren?
That coordination, she already knows that. Like,
Yes.
And that's actually better than $1,500 raise, because she'll get 2% on that for our lifetime.
And it'll go to the retirement system.
I guess my only concern that I'll state is that we're,
Hold on real quick. Did we get a motion in a second? Motion made by Councilman Voss, seconded by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller. Discussion, go ahead, Kristen.
it's just that we're not reimbursing her for something she's already doing, right?
No.
Okay, I just want that to be out there, because,
So this is going forward.
okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Discussion of town pilot policy. Will, do you want to take the lead on this one?
Sure.
Got it right here in front of me.
Did everyone receive my email? Or, I'm sorry, Stephanie's email?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it.
You
I
got
can
it,
say
Kristen?
that. I got it. I got it printed out too. Yep.
We got this a little late, but you can go ahead and give us a synopsis if you'd like.
Okay, I can read it. When energy system companies want to do a project in the town or any municipality, under Real Property Tax Law 487, they are entitled to an exemption if they give notice of the project to the municipality and 60 days goes by and the town doesn't take any action to say they want a pilot agreement to collect some taxes from the project, they're entitled to an exemption. It's a little bit, notice to the town can take many forms. It can be an email, it can be a letter, it can be construed a few different ways. So really, the clock can start running on the town before the town even realizes it sometimes. So what we're suggesting is if the town wants to have a pilot agreement, you should have a policy of when you get such a notice, if you're going to send out notification to the applicant for the solar project that the town expects a pilot agreement and to get some pilot payments out of the project. So I'm just going to read the last paragraph of our recommendation, just so you have it on the record. Our recommendation to the board is that the notice of the town's intent to enter into a pilot agreement should be sent from the supervisor's office immediately after receipt of any type of written communication from a renewable energy battery storage developer. Town employees who may receive such correspondence, either in the planning board or anywhere else, should be instructed that any such correspondence should immediately be forwarded to the supervisor's office in order to be timely responded to, and we can help you develop a form letter. This is really a protection measure for the town. You don't necessarily have to demand a pilot agreement for every project, but you want to leave yourself the option. So that's why that letter should go out after the next town board meeting, after such a notice is received. You get something saying, we're coming to Montgomery, we're going to the planning board, we're looking to get approval for a project for solar. At the next town board meeting, which is obviously upcoming and nowhere near the 60 days, the town board can decide on this particular project, or from every project, we want to inform the potential developer that if they're approved, part of it's going to be a pilot with the town, so there isn't going to be a full tax exemption.
Yes.
That's the situation.
And we've been running into confusion on behalf of the applicants for other solar projects where they assume the pilot they do with the town also includes the county and the school district, and this is a good way for us to a degree, educate them on this is what this is, and also put them on notice so that we don't miss that threshold that we'll talk about.
And that they need to notify the other taxing jurisdictions.
Correct.
It's not up to the town to say, hey, the solar project X is coming to the town of Montgomery, you better give them a notice. It's incumbent upon the developer, the project owner, to send notice to the town, the county, the school district.
The special districts too, right? Special taxing
Any
jurisdictions.
taxing district. Yeah. I mean, the solar project, I do not believe.
Fire's exempt.
Yeah, I do not believe that fire would be, they'd automatically get an exemption from fire, but that's really,
I'm pretty sure they do, but
I don't think they automatically get
So
it.
then how did that, like, because I believe this, I know, I'm okay with, just for the record, I'm okay with leaving us the option.
It should just be a
But-
policy decision.
Yeah, but I believe the school district opted out of the 487.
yeah,
So they get the full tax base, correct?
it depends on the starting date. So when the applicant had started through the planning process and announced themselves, if that happened prior to the date the school district opted out of 487, that is not the case for the school district. And what we're finding out is the school district is thinking they're gonna get full boat, but the solar company announced at this date, so they don't entertain the pilot agreement, they ignore it, and now they're getting nothing.
Okay, well, our town IDA opted for a 25-year, it's
That's a different
15
story.
year, so
That's a different
we
story,
kind of stick ourselves in the foot too.
Well, they did, they gave that option away, yeah, for
They-
that one development.
They develop our pilots and we have to deal with repercussions.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, but I guess that's a discussion for a later date if we decide to opt out of the 487 to get the full tax exemption.
yeah, we're discussing that right now internally, as a potential option. There are also issues with that because it's not just the town board opting out, it's also residents, residentials. So each resident could also not take advantage of that.
Right, that's why we're suggesting have a policy where once we get the initial notification, then the town board can decide, well, we're not gonna require a pilot from resident, perhaps, because if you do a blanket opt-out, that's it.
Correct.
But you're correct, that's a discussion for a different time. All we're suggesting for now is a protocol, policy, so every time we get any kind of piece of correspondence from a developer, whether it can officially be deemed a notification we treat it as the 60 days starting to run, so we don't run into an issue of someone coming back at us and saying, oh yeah, that email we sent you back then, that was our notification. Because the statute's ambiguous on what constitutes a notification. So that's what we're suggesting with this email.
Yep, I'm in agreement. I have a letter here ready to sign if you guys approve.
For renewable energy and battery storage, right?
That one?
That's what this says, from renewable energy
Yeah.
/ battery storage developer, but that, it doesn't cover anybody else that's seeking the pilot. This is just what we're talking about.
This one right here.
Well, renewable energy, we're blanketing all solar projects as renewable energy in this email. There is one that the supervisor does have a letter to sign that we're ready to mail out tomorrow.
Correct.
Telling a company that we got an email from them, so expect to enter into a pilot with that.
So I'm ready to go.
Why don't we talk, just make a motion on the policy first.
Would anyone like to make a motion, and we're going to call this the pilot notice of intent policy?
We can call it the renewable energy battery storage developer notification policy.
Much better. Is there an acronym for that? Would anyone like to make a motion on that?
Sorry,
I'll
Ron.
make
That's okay.
Motion made by Councilman Millick,
I'll second.
seconded by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller. All in
So,
favor? Oh,
but what
discussion.
about if they don't, like you said, expect to enter into a pilot, that, expect that we're gonna recommend them to go to the IDA for consideration of a
No.
pilot, right?
No. This is a
They're
different
just-
kind- This is a different kind of pilot.
Yep.
Oh, what kind of pilot is
It's a pilot with,
this? The 487?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Okay,
different pilot.
that's the 15-year pilot,
Correct.
not the 25-year pilot.
They would have to go directly to the IDA if they wanted to do something different, yes.
But if they opt to take the 487, that's the pilot that we're talking about here, and
Correct.
then we would get
That's
the
our
assessment.
standard, that's our standard pilot.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I
Yep.
wanted to make sure it's not 25 years.
No, if Maple Solar didn't get that third vote, and they would have had to have come to us to go through this process with the 15 year. Okay. All in favor?
I-
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Do you have a pen? Okay, the Grand Montgomery Chamber Music Series, I received an email. It looks like the town board, Cindy and Sherry, you might be able to speak to this, supported this last year, and they were asking for support again this year.
Are they even happening?
Yes, they are. And it looks like the amount was $900. It's hold on, it went up. It's, is it 900 exactly? 900 exactly, you're right. It is $900, and Bernard and I tried to find the exact line that it was taken out of over the last couple of years, and we found the name as a vendor, but we couldn't find exactly what line to take it out of. So,
Brian, I believe it was paid to the village of Montgomery. So we'll look at, might be able to find it for you.
okay.
We pay the village the money, and then the village disperses it to.
Okay, so we have a budget line for it. Okay, so I don't have to worry about finding one. Sounds good.
Well, did you-
Up to 1,000 instead of.
Yes, you're right. Okay, so would anyone like to make a motion to approve the $900 payment to the Grand Montgomery Chamber Music Series?
Do we have to make a motion?
I mean, we could.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller, seconded by Councilman Voss.
So, Will, did you get the answer to your question with regards to the second paragraph down on this email?
Yeah, I looked through it. This is because the concerts are free and it's a public benefit, it's acceptable.
Okay, it's not against the municipal gifts clause.
No, it's not. I looked into it
Thank you.
after this email came through.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Last item on the agenda, change town board meeting date to July 16th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Right now, it is scheduled for Thursday, July 23rd. That was to work around my vacation that I will no longer be going on that week. Yeah. So, yeah, and I would like to make a motion to, I guess what?
I'll make that one.
Reschedule or set, how do we word it?
Go back to the original date.
Yeah, reschedule the July 23rd meeting for July 16th, 2020 to start at 5 p.m.
Why do we do 5 o'clock?
That evening, I have family commitment personally, that's why I wanted to start earlier.
That's fine.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Councilman Melick, seconded by Councilman Christian Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, sir.
this is entirely up to you and the board. You closed the public hearing on the Water District extension. I had circulated the
Yes, you did.
proposed resolution, if the board wants to take care of that tonight and vote on the extension.
Yep. Yeah, I see it right here. I'm okay with it, but if you guys want to take some time to read it, you certainly can. Take some time right now. It's pretty basic. I'm okay with moving
I'm
on.
okay with
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion approving the resolution in order extending Water District Number 2B? Petition to extend Town of Montgomery Water District Number 2B.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councilman Bellick,
it. Second.
seconded by Deputy Supervisor Ron Feller. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Good and welfare and comments from the board. Councilman
Before
Balls.
we go to that,
Yeah.
one question. This device that we have for incoming people into our building next week,
Yeah.
which is going to read our temperature and see if we have a mask on. It was on Channel 7 News. It's supposed to be a great device. Is that going to be charged to the COVID account?
Yes.
Because we didn't never voted on getting it, so that I can remember. Isn't that a $3,000 item?
Yeah, so that's a reimbursable for FEMA. Yes.
So we don't have to, we didn't have to vote.
I mean, we used, and Will help me out on this one, the emergency executive order to have COVID response expenses. So my determination based on the consultation with Will was just making sure you guys knew about it, making sure you guys knew the cost, and then going ahead with it.
Yeah, on an emergency.
And that's going to be recaptured.
Yeah, we have a great point of contact at FEMA, like I said before, and he gave us exactly what qualifies and what doesn't. We just ordered a ton of new PPE and cleaning supplies that all is going to be reimbursed. We have a lot now in stock. If you look in my office, there's just boxes and boxes, so we're ready for the whatever comes. Okay, good welfare.
I just want to wish everybody a happy, safe 4th of July. We all need to celebrate and safely, social distancing with masks and with our families.
Thanks.
Amen.
That's it. Okay. Sherry?
Same here. Happy 4th of July. And let's try not to get ourselves in the conditions some of the other states are at. Again.
Sounds good.
So I thought good and welfare was also going to get added council comments.
Yeah, I think I just verbally said it, but it's not on the agenda. But yeah, these can be council comments as well.
Okay, so I would like to bring up an issue. So a subject that needs to be discussed here in collaboration with the IDA is the 17K corridor study. Chairman Chris stated during the, so to go back, the IDA's last meeting, they had Mary Beth from, and I can't pronounce her last name, so I really apologize.
I think it's B.
Mary
Comey.
Beth B. Yeah, from Delaware Engineering did a presentation about the 17K corridor study. During the presentation, Chairman Chris stated that it's in collaboration, or going to be worked in collaboration with us, the Town of Montgomery Board, the Planning Board, and the IDA. So I think that starts as a discussion for us up here. It hasn't been brought to us. It got brought up by me last night at the Comprehensive Plan Committee, but you know, I'm really concerned after watching the presentation that it doesn't respect the rights of our residents. When I was campaigning, I talked to a lot of people. I just wrote a lot of notes, by the way, because I watched the whole thing today. When I was campaigning today, I spoke to a lot of people who distrusted politicians and felt left out of the process. And I promised them that I would be developing a path to the future to all work together. this was not brought to the comp plan until I brought it up last night when it was discussed to the committee, and until now it has not come to the town board as an entity. So I think outside users should not establish what the community is going to have here. Comments made by Delaware Engineering, such as the fact that Mary Beth does not live here, she's not from here, but does a lot of work here. Another comment was made, if your objective as an IDA is to help your community and stabilize the tax base and helping in the form of these decisions, then you need to help in the form of these decisions. Not only what the community wants, because you don't always get what you want. Comments like that. In addition, Chairman Chris said the town board, planning board, and IDA play a role in this document to bring dynamics and opportunities. You know, all during this presentation, she stated what the outside wants here. And I think we need to decide what we want here. It was stated that that's what the comp plan does, but the comprehensive plan does a much larger scale project. You know, I think that an outsider should not be telling us what we want here. And that's what this presentation kept saying, that she's an outsider. She doesn't live here. Typically, when you live here, you don't always see what's available. But I think until we either have a longer, and in all due honesty, I did call Connor. I tried having a discussion with him today. Connor called Delaware Engineering to see what the public outreach is. He did not speak with Mary Beth. He spoke with somebody else, their public outreach person, who was going to formulate an answer with Mary Beth and then get back to him, who's going to get back to me. I don't think this process should continue any further until there's more information available to us. And I know that during this discussion, Chairman Chris said he was going to look to make a vote, or to do a vote on this possibly at the next meeting. And I would like this board to take a position that no agencies of the town or organizations enter into contracts relating in zoning or land use in the town of Montgomery to complete a task until the comprehensive plan is spoken to the community to see what they want here.
Well, I think we just talk to Chairman Christ and say, hey, you know, the town board would love to have you, or Connor, and Mary Beth just come to the town board and do a similar presentation to answer some of the concerns that we all might have about it, to talk about its value, and in the spirit of working with the planning board and the town board and the CPC, I think that's warranted, and I think they would welcome that. So I'm all for bringing them to our next meeting. And when is the next IDA meeting?
I don't know, I thought it was before our meeting though.
I mean, I do want to say though, Mary Beth's presentation was more all the property that was available and what could be built out on that property as more as an educational piece, because people don't really realize
Correct, yeah.
what that property could be built out as.
Yeah.
I don't think it was more her dictating what we were going to zone it. I think it was more to bring it to our attention. These are the properties available. This is what could be developed on this property. And to work with the comprehensive plan, not to drive the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
To work with the comprehensive.
And that's my take on it too, but to Chris's point, I think it would be a benefit to the board for us to hear from her. And I think she'll be able to articulate and answer some of the concerns. I think she will be able to answer a lot of your concerns. I'm not gonna say they're not concerns, because they are, but I think she'll be able to address them.
So I hear that it might be, the next IDA meeting might be this upcoming Wednesday.
I'll talk to Chairman Chris, see if he'll hold off.
Okay.
I think that will be, I think we have that working relationship, and I don't think he's gonna have a problem with it.
If we can have additional people here, can we invite the CPC members so that way they can see the presentation as well? Because
By the
it's supposed to be a working collaboration.
By the 16th, we will be able to have individuals here. I worked with Jack today to find out exactly what our capacity would be, spacing the chairs apart. So I certainly think we can invite them to be here in the audience, and we'll have enough room for them and members of the public that may want to take part. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. It could be a good opportunity for us all to be in the same room for the first time in a while. And they'll be able to comment in person, ask their questions as well. I think it'd be a good opportunity.
Yeah, I would appreciate that no action be taken until we can have that discussion.
I didn't know that they were considering action so quickly, so I will talk to Chairman Chris and say we'd really like to have this meeting and collaborate a little bit. if everybody else is okay with that.
I didn't think they were ready to do that either. I thought they were still working with her on what exactly she was going to be presenting. Max did talk to her too about, or with Connor about more of a marketing piece, like what would the property look like.
Yeah, so that's what I got as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was like that advanced, but.
Well, you know, if you heard a comment, you heard a comment, so I'll talk to Chairman Chris and let him know how we feel, and then we'd love to have a joint discussion on it.
Okay, and happy 4th of July, everyone. Stay safe.
All right. Yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. I want to give a shout out. I do it often, but I want to give a shout out to a lot of people don't see and I don't promote enough, I don't think, just how much Billy's been donating his time in the community to do a lot of live streams and to help with some free marketing advice. So I just want to give a big shout out to Acquisitions and Marketing. They've been doing a lot of donating of their services behind the scenes, and we appreciate that. So thank you, Billy. And I know the community appreciates the access and the transparency of watching these meetings. We've gotten thousands upon thousands of hits and views that otherwise we wouldn't have had in the past. So, what was that?
We pay for it too.
We pay for it too, but I want to stress that he donates a lot that people don't see, and his advice is very, very valuable. That we're not paying for. We're just giving it. Alrighty, we have a audit number 9 of 2020, and did everybody get a chance to take a look?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, good. Anyone would like to make a motion to approve audit number 9 of 2020 in the amount of $751,774.53.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the planning board escrows,
Yeah.
we do double check that there's money in those escrows before we approve.
Yes,
Okay.
and there's some issues with a lot of that process that we're.
Actually, I worked with Fred and Sue and Bernard yesterday,
You did.
and we were.
They gave you the
going through some
update?
of that. We're going through some of that and looking at the budget for next year
Good.
and how they're gonna improve that process.
Oh, you're on that committee? Okay. I know we each picked we each got assigned or picked a department.
Yeah, and I didn't bring that up in, comments, but we are getting a head start to all the members of the public on our budget process. We have each board member intimately involved in specific departments. We're starting to get ideas on identifying vouchers, on what we spend money on here in the town, bill by bill. So we're looking to really create more line items in our budget, have a lot more ownership from the department heads on those items, and we're looking forward to having a thicker budget next year. And that does not mean spending more money, but it means creating more lines so that you'll have more information as members of the public on what money is being spent on. It is a bit alarming on just how few lines there are, so we're looking to really create more information as we present to the public heading towards November. And thank you all for taking the time to work on the budget with me. It's much appreciated. And Ron, much appreciated.
Good job.
Did you find out anything about those?
Same thank you. Say it again.
Did you find out anything about the systems?
The tracking system?
Yeah, did anybody look into it?
No, I don't.
All
I
that company and.
don't believe we got to follow up on that. All right, Sherry, just give me a shout after the 4th of July weekend. First thing Monday.
Get out of that, it would be good.
Okay.
Because they're not, they have never been used from day one.
Okay. All right. Did we vote on? Is that
We have a motion.
all in favor? Did we?
You already have a second.
We have a second. Yeah. All in favor?
I
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Before we adjourn, we do have an executive session. How do I word this again?
Confer with council.
Executive session to confer with counsel. I don't think we need to add for potential litigation, but certainly that's a reason to confer with counsel. Anyone would like to make a motion?
so moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Brown, seconded by Councilwoman Melick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
And the public should be advised there'll be no votes or any other business after the.
No votes or any other business will be conducted after this executive session.
I look forward to possibly having you guys here at the next board meeting.
Yes. Billy, are we,
What?
not yet?
Well,
All right, now I'd like to make a motion, now that we've reconvened the general meeting, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Brown,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilwoman Sherry Melick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
Happy 4th tomorrow.
Happy 4th of July.